Good morning. I'm Deb. I'm a drug addict alcoholic. It was fun to watch you guys read and not see your mouths moving. I just go like, who's talking? So I've done this work. I've gone through this process with a sponsor, and I've gone through all 12 steps. In doing so, I report to God now. God's my higher power. And I'm going to talk about God a lot because that's my solution. And I finished all my amends. I practice this work with everything I got. I don't do it perfectly, but I give it what I just give it all. I write inventory every day. I work with women. I have a home group. And did I already say I finished my amends? Did I say that? All right. So I'm a nurse, and I worked last night, and I didn't get home till real early, so I'm punchy. Just going to throw that out there. So it says more about alcoholism. That's me. More about me. More about alcoholism. This chapter to me is about how I lie to myself. Lie, lie, lie. I've done this work. It's been a few 24 hours since I've done the work, but I still do it. I still lie to myself. What's really important about this chapter is it's for anyone who reads it. The architect of the book, Bill Wilson, is so brilliant. God had to come into his pen, because the stuff that's written here is so perfect. It's like Bill's going, he's trying to talk to us from the window, from the basement, from the chimney, from outside in the backyard, trying to get all kinds of different examples of, hey, you, this could be you, or maybe this is you, or how about you over here? And that's how I read the chapter. I get excited when I read it. It sounds corny, but I still do. Because when they talk about things like peculiar mental twists and blank spots, for me, what that is God coming in right before I do something I shouldn't do. Now, I haven't drank or used in a long time, but I use behavior. And behavior is my precursor to using stuff. And so when they talk about more about alcoholism, that's why they have the chapter. It's more about alcoholism. It's not just the booze, but it's about everything. So this chapter is so great because it talks about being unwilling, being mental, being insane, having obsession, all these really aggressive words. This is you, Deb. And I go, yes, okay, yes, got it. It says repeatedly, it gives me all these fantastic statements, fully concede. Understand, Deb? Fully concede. That means, there's a buddy of mine who goes to the Leominster meeting, and he used to always say in every meeting, half measures. They don't give me anything. They don't even give you half. They give you zero. So fully concede is this. I have to fully concede to myself, not to you, but to God, that I can't use at all ever. Not like in 10 years, there's a whole bunch of booze out there I've never tried, like Mike's Hard, whatever, and this, that, and the other thing, and mimosas, not mimosas, those pink cosmopolitans. And so I can't do that. I can't fantasize about that. I can't think someday when I retire, just before I'm on my deathbed, I can get bombed. That's not going to happen for me. Just try one gummy. So that's not happening. So it says words like smashed. They're talking to me. I'm a real alcoholic. I don't know what kind of alcoholic you guys are, but if you give me an inch, I'll take it. So I know that about myself. And so I love this program. This chapter is magnificent. It talks to me about lying. How is my disease talking to me today? Am I praying? Am I meditating? Am I going to a sponsor? Am I reporting for duty? Am I showing up at meetings? Am I on my phone when you're sharing? Am I listening? Am I paying attention? Am I present? How am I here? How is my alcoholism operating today? So they call it a progressive illness. And, it is, because even in the small bullet of my life, if I don't write inventory, which I don't think I haven't written inventory, this isn't a brag, this is just a statement. This is how I have to live. If I don't write inventory, which I haven't in forever, I feel it. Instantly. I feel it instantly. Example, how is my alcoholism talking to me? Last night, we had a rough night at work, whatever. And I'm a nurse, and so COVID, yep. And so I cracked a joke at someone. I was tired. That joke was about their performance. First thing I did when I went to bed, and I was prayed, the other steps we'll talk about this, but we do inventory on ourselves every day, pray, meditate, go to God. More about alcoholism. Just because I did this work and finished the 12 steps doesn't mean I'm ever done. I'm never done, because If I'm done, I'm done. You understand? So I go like this. I pray, and I'm on my knees. I'm like, uh-oh. Boom. There goes the feeling. More about alcoholism. There I am, Deb. You're right there. You just jammed somebody last night. I said, wow, how can I do that? Peculiar blank spot. Tired. You know. What am I going to do about that peculiar blank spot? What am I going to do about that mental twist? I'm going to slam somebody. I'm going to eat over it. I'm going to over-exercise. I'm going to gossip. I'm going to do this. These are all the things that come before the actual using. So I said something to someone. So what do? Since we both didn't get home till the freaking crack of dawn, I waited, not very reasonable, but I waited until about 9:30, whatever it was, and I texted her and I said, I wanted to know if I could talk to her. Because I had to clean my side of the street and say to her that I think what I said was inappropriate. And I said, I'm sorry. And she was like, what? Because they're others. They're not us. They're others. Others can slam and gossip and ridicule and do whatever. We can't. I'm not going to talk for you guys. I can't. So I just straightened that up right away. And she's like, oh, Deb, I love you. And I'm like, okay. My side of the street is going to keep clean. I don't care if you're going to let... See, that's what they talk about in the book. They talk about, how is your disease talking to you? Is it okay to have sexual commentary and jokes with people and let this stuff slide? No, it's not for me. Is it okay to let everybody gossip about people and do what they do? No, I want to listen, though. I want to be right there in the middle of the gossip and hear it all. But I got to do something different, because all this stuff is precursor. So we see the truth demonstrated again and again. I'm an alcoholic, once an alcoholic, never anything else. Jimmy here used to say, what does he used to say about once you're a pickle, you can never be a cucumber? Is that up? Okay, all right. Yes, and so he gave me a pickle for a Christmas ornament once. So he's trying to drive the point home to me too, because we both are real alcoholics. I mean, that's the way it goes. So it says in the book about planning to stop drinking, planning to do this. I plan to do that. I remember before I did this work, I was what the book described as mangled. I couldn't stop using. I really couldn't, man. I would just be so, I do everything I was supposed to do. Oh, God, please help me. And then I take my will back. So that's why the book is trying to talk to us, using different characters like Fred and Jim. Because perhaps if you're on the fence and you think, I don't really have it that bad. I don't have it that bad. I can control this thing. Well, this book is about me. I have it that bad. I can't control this. I don't need that thought coming in that says, how about a little booze and some milk? To me, that's crazy. But when I first came in here and read that, I thought, yeah, okay. Do you see how different? A little bit exposure to myself and doing the work, working with a sponsor and doing the program, and just trying to have some truth in my life and some integrity. I see that, this desperate experiment of drinking, that's what it is for me. It's a desperate experiment of my life if I don't continue to do this work. So I wanted to stop. I really wanted to stop. I was baffled. These adjectives are fabulous in this book, huh? Baffled. I was baffled. Yeah, I was more than baffled. I was really ashamed. And so the chapter talks about, they describe to us what happens when we don't accept a spiritual solution. Because if I say to you, it was a good idea, I use this brain, my brain, to drink, to drug, to smash cars, to hurt people, to do whatever I did, that I'm going to use the same brain to put me through this process. I don't need a sponsor. I'm just going to read this book and I'm going to write the steps on my own. Right. They call it a solitary self-appraisal. If I'm going to use my own head that said, yeah, it's okay let's go smoke some crack. All right, let's go. If that was, my brain said that was okay, then I'm going to use my brain to put me through. And that's the reason why they talk about it's more than alcoholism. It's not that alcoholism isn't the issue. It's more than that. It's that I need a source that's bigger than me, that has objectivity, compassion, integrity, that will allow me to come into this work and say, I know why I do this. It's more than the booze. It's the way I think. Absence of a source. I had no source. So because I was the source kept saying, yeah, let's go to the package store. So it says right here, I failed to enlarge my, this person in the chapter, Jim, he failed to enlarge his spiritual life, so he bombed. I don't want to fail. Okay, I don't want to go backwards. You're going to give me my timer, right? Awesome. Thank you so much. So I love how the chapter says this. This always kills me. On page 40 and 41, I was told by my sponsor to highlight all the I's, because that's me. That's how many times I bring up myself. Well, I want this, and I need this, and I got to have that. That's alcoholism. So I know that's a peculiar blank spot. So when I'm in the world and I'm conversing, and all I'm doing is telling you what I want. I'm not listening. I'm not present. I'm just telling you what I want. I need this. I got to have that. I got to go here. Blah, blah, blah. Me, me, me. There it is again. And they use the words like subtle insanity, which precedes the first drink. I don't want to have that experience. My experience is, I hope to God, stay connected to the work, stay honest, do the work every day, be present, show up, be kind. Love and tolerance is our code, and it sounds corny to say that, but it's true. And I did the opposite of that last night. But the beautiful thing is that I can jump right back in there and correct my behavior. And that you can always have a do-over. Any second, any moment, any day, do it over. And you do it over because God comes to me. God comes into me and says, oh, that didn't feel right. Oh, that's not right. You're off the beam, girl. Correct it. And so the rest of the work you'll cover as the following weeks go on, bring me to the place where I have the tools to do this, to step forward and live a life of integrity. Okay, sweet. So how is your disease, how is my disease talking to me today? How's my disease talking to me today? What I do with my disease is I check in. And it's not just blabbing. It's checking in through prayer and meditation, checking in through my soul, like, what have I done, not just for myself, but what have I done for others? How do I show up in this world? I want to talk about the jaywalker. In my book, next to the jaywalker, I write Deb. And I write Deb mountain biking. Because I'm a mountain biker, and I've broken tons of bones. And I mean lots of them. And it took me a long time to just rearrange that thought, because I was out there beating myself up because I didn't like who I had become. And I didn't even realize I was out there killing myself. But instead of being quiet, being present, and practicing some self-love through this program, I was out there like jumping off of stuff. And what's really cool about this program is you just as like you can progress to drinking, you can progress to healing. That's what this program is about, healing and self-love. I used to ride with 45-year-old dudes, right? And just recently, I don't know, 6 months ago, whatever, I said, I don't want to ride with you guys anymore because it's too painful. I can't keep up. That's huge. More about alcoholism isn't necessarily about just me drinking right here. It's about my behavior in the world and telling myself and you and anybody else who wants to hear me the truth about who I am. Why was I killing myself? To prove that I had value, that I could hang with these people, that I was good enough to be with them. I'm good enough to be with me. But that took me a long time to get to that place. It says here, they talk about the spiritual answer, which is God. The program of action, which is the steps, the work, the working with a sponsor, getting connected, meditating, praying. This is what gets me more about alcoholism, gets me out of alcohol into healthy behavior. It says the program of action, which is the steps, though entirely sensible, was pretty drastic. So then let's think about it this way. Death or doing the steps? So it says I got to throw out some lifelong conceptions. That's what I just did with mountain biking, being the jaywalker, that I don't have to validate breathing. I don't have to prove to people I'm worth it. I'm worth it to myself, but it took me this many years to do this stuff. So it says here, the discovery that spiritual principles would solve all my problems. It didn't say half of them or a quarter, all. But I can't get to spiritual principles and I can't get to solution if I don't do work. So if I just sit here and go, yeah, and I don't pray and I don't meditate, don't show up, don't do inventory, don't work with women, don't do it, I'm not going to get anything. So that's where I'm telling you that they will solve all my problems, all of them. But I need to go to God. I just don't go, hey, I got it. I got to go to God. It says here that I'm living infinitely more satisfying and I hope a more useful life. I am. I'm so much more useful. I very rarely cause catastrophe any longer. I really cause drama. I can't even think of the last time I got in a fight with somebody, and I used to fight with everybody. And it says here, for the most part, most cases, there's virtually no other solution than the spiritual approach. I mean, it's all over this book, to hand it over to the source versus self. And I'm going to end with this. His defense must come from a higher power. The higher power for me is God. My disease is of my mind. And I choose another path. I choose the path of self-love and God and the program. And so if you're writing or thinking about this work, let's go. And if you're doing the work and you're sliding, because the eyes are coming back. I. And the conversations are coming back, and the excuses and the justification and the gossiping. I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about me. And last night was my example. So that's it for me.
Nice.